You are listening to the Lose Weight for the Last Time podcast with Laura Conley. And oh my God, guys, I have a guest here, Melissa Parsons. And we're doing like this fun little collab today. So Melissa and I know each other from our licking days. No, I'm just kidding. We have this weird inside joke about licking. Don't ask. She's a coaching friend of mine who I love so much. And I just thought it would be really fun to have a conversation and then have you guys listen to it because she's really smart and has a lot to offer, especially when it comes to you loving you. And it was just so kismet because that's what I like to teach. And so, Melissa, I want you to introduce you. You tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll just dive in.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Laura, for having me. And yes, please, everyone, do ask about the licking. Just kidding. I am Melissa Parsons. I am a pediatrician, actually, by training. I spent over 20 years practicing pediatrics in Columbus, Ohio, and I found coaching in 2018 for myself and decided to become a coach after getting coaching for a couple of years. And I now have been coaching in my business, which is Melissa Parsons Coaching, for the past 4 years. I coach women exclusively, and my goal is to help them become a favorite version of themselves. So I have a podcast called Your Favorite You. I have a group coaching program called Your Favorite You. And I just love helping women just to be able to navigate life in a sometimes crazy, tumultuous world and learn to love every little bit of themselves. So that's what I do.
I love that. That's so cool. We like essentially do the same thing just through like different entry points, right?
Yeah,
It's so
different
cool.
lens. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. We need more of us because we all have to be free and we all have to love ourselves. Okay, so how do we do that? Like, how do we become our favorite versions of ourselves?
Oh, gosh. I think it is a multi-step process, right? I think it is consistently asking ourselves, what do I want over and over and over again?
Yeah, that just came up at the retreat this past
Yeah.
weekend.
Oh, I'm
is like
sure.
the lack of just asking the question in the first place. Like we literally just forget to ask ourselves that question. We're conditioned to and socialized to just be so concerned about what other people want, what other people need. Yeah. I mean, that's the podcast, guys. Just go ask yourself what you want.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Well, and then I think it's getting quiet enough to actually listen for the answer. Because so many of us are so busy and pack our schedules full so that we don't have to pay much attention to ourselves.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And it seems safer. And then, of course, like you said, we have the socialization to think of self-sacrifice as being something that we all should do. And I think it's a bunch of bull larky. Do we swear on the Laura Conley podcast?
Oh my God, no. You know me. I don't swear.
My podcast has a disclaimer at the beginning for people. It says, I like to use all of the words available to me in the English language. So please proceed with caution if young ears are around.
I know my podcast editor keeps being like, you need a disclaimer. And then my podcast episodes will get marked as explicit.
Nice. I love it.
So there's your answer. Yeah.
So we can say bullshit.
Yeah, we can say the SH word. So like then we get quiet enough. How do we do that? That is scary. Or what are some like suggestions? Like how could we like ease our way into experiencing quiet?
Think scheduling an appointment with ourselves for like, if you have to start at 5 minutes every day, you can start at 5 minutes. Everybody has 5 minutes. It doesn't matter if you have a full-time job and you have multiple kids and you're married or you're a single parent or whatever. It is like, let's start at 5 minutes and just sit and literally do nothing. Like, look out the window.
Yeah.
At my house, it's watch the birds, watch the deer, watch the leaves change color, watch them fall off the trees, watch the flowers grow.
Yeah, just so that you can, like, prove to yourself that it's, like, safe to sit there for 5 minutes.
Yeah. So many of us have been taught that it's not safe to
Yeah.
sit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, we could that's a whole podcast right there. I also wonder about the offering of, like, if 5 minutes just looking at the leaves feels hard, like it's like for me, because this is something that, like, I used to have this used to be a pattern for me. Like, I
Mhm.
every minute was triple booked. That's part of the reason why I became a yoga teacher. So I wonder too if that even feels like too big of a jump. I wonder about like, well, like I'm working on rest. So like I have to schedule my rest, but like someone else has to be a part of it. So like I
Mm.
have to get a massage or I have to like do like a yoga nidra, but like with my husband. Like,
Mm.
so it's like I almost will build in the accountability.
Mhm.
And so I just wonder if that is like a little footnote too, if it feels like even 5 minutes feels too much,
Mhm.
which could be a thing. Like it actually could be a thing that 5 minutes feels too much and like you don't have to shame yourself around that too because
Right, right, right. Well, and I think the other thing that is a nuance to this is, like, if you can't find 5 minutes, like, you're way too scheduled.
yeah, that's telling in and of itself, right?
Right, exactly. And if you treat your appointments with other people
Mm,
with a ton of respect, and you would never not show up if you schedule a massage without letting the person know, or you scheduled a walk with a friend, or you scheduled yoga nidra with your husband. Like, if
yeah.
you would always show up for that appointment, but you always come up with excuses not to keep your appointment with yourself for 5 minutes a day, it's like, okay, let's look
Mm,
at that. Like, why
mhm,
don't you deserve
mhm.
that same dedication that you're giving to other people?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a quote that I'm totally gonna botch that has to do with meditation because people will always like walk around and be like, "Well, I don't have 15 minutes to meditate." To like
Mhm.
I like that's impossible. And it's
Mhm.
like if you're saying you don't have 15 minutes to meditate per day, you need an hour of
Mhm. Yeah,
meditation per day or
exactly.
whatever, fill in the blank coaching or I like coaching better than meditation. But I do agree with you on the solitude thing, like for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, any other steps that we can do to, like, become our favorite you?
I think a lot of what I coach people on, and I know that you do too, Laura, is unlearning all the
Mm,
bullshit that we have been taught over the years about what makes a perfect mom, what makes a perfect daughter, what makes a
mm,
perfect wife, what makes a perfect sister. Like, all the things that we need to at least question and consciously decide instead of just going with what everyone else is doing or what we've always done.
yeah.
I think one of the things that drew me to coaching is I had the dream of being a doctor since I was 9 years old. And I did everything that I could to make that happen. And at some point, I stopped dreaming for myself because I had kind of checked off all the boxes and I had done all the things. And I was married, I had a nice home, I had a vehicle to drive, 2 kids, a dog. Like, I had all the things that I had set out for.
Mm,
But I still was putting my head on the pillow at night or waking up in the morning thinking, oh, like, is this it?
mhm,
Like, what else? Like,
yeah.
how could I dream for more and that type of thing?
Yeah, and that's death. I mean, that's a trap right there, like, I'm just gonna go there, but, like,
Yeah.
I love Viktor Frankl, and he talks all about how he got through the concentration camps, and it was
Mhm.
by asking himself, like, "What do I want?"
Mhm.
And also just by knowing that he had a purpose that he
Mhm.
had to see through. And
Mhm.
he's like, "I would see the light go off. I would see the purpose go off in the other people around me that were also imprisoned in these concentration camps. And the
Mhm.
light of purpose would go out, and then they would be gone the next day or the next day. And he attributes his survival to his ability to hold on to a purpose. And I
Mhm.
think that a lot of both of our audiences, I actually just did this huge survey of all my moms in my community, and a lot of them did say, like, I've done it. I've lived out my dreams. And
Yeah.
because we stop asking the question, like some of us, okay, we're asking the questions like at age 9 or age
Yeah.
16. And then we do all the things, we check all the boxes, and then we are like, yeah, is this it? And it's like, no, this is definitely not it. But probably a lot of us are scared to like keep dreaming and keep asking
Mhm.
ourselves, like, what's next, or what could be another one of my many purposes here on planet Earth or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think the other thing for me at least, and what I have found for my clients is that part of being a favorite version of yourself is telling the truth
Mm. Oh, that's so good.
and not pretending,
Yeah.
and like how free you start to feel when you start to tell all the little microscopic truths that you haven't been telling or that you've been afraid to tell.
I don't even think a lot of us are aware of it. Like, I don't even think a lot of us know that we are walking around just managing everybody's impressions of ourselves. It's called like impression management. I just learned this like last weekend.
Oh, congrats.
I know I have a psychologist and one of our cohorts, and she's like, oh, that's called that. And I'm like, oh, great. We have a name for it. But I learned so much by asking myself this question, like, what are the things I'm doing and saying to manage what other people think of me? And can
Mm.
I stop doing that and just let them think whatever they
Mhm.
want to think?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's like a step into telling the truth. Because I sometimes wonder, if do people even know whether or not they're telling the truth? Because so
Mhm.
many of us are just like following suit. Like we're just like being a good soldier almost.
Mhm. Yeah, being a good girl, following
Yeah.
the rules, taking on the roles, being over
Mm,
responsible for everyone else, and forgetting like our responsibility to ourselves.
yeah. How do we start telling the truth in a way that doesn't feel too scary, and so that we actually do it?
I think it's it again, like the 5 minutes, it has to start off small. Like for me, in a yummy mummy experience, the truth is like it doesn't feel good for my body to sit on the couch and
Hmm.
watch Netflix for hours.
Yeah.
It feels much better to get outside and take a walk
Mm,
or to go lift some heavy shit and throw it around, right?
yeah, totally.
It doesn't feel good to eat a bunch of food and drink a bunch of alcohol. And I think one of the earliest truths that I can remember telling when I was first getting coached was I went out to dinner with my girlfriends and I wasn't hungry and it was dinner
Mm,
time. And they were like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Absolutely nothing is wrong. Like, I'm full right now. I don't need to eat, but I want to enjoy your company. Like, is it safe for me to come out and be with you and not eat and just sit here and drink my tea or my sparkling water or whatever, my water, whatever it was, right?" And it makes other people uncomfortable sometimes when we're telling the truth.
hmm
But I would rather make other people uncomfortable than make myself uncomfortable,
hmm
like ever again, if I can
hmm
help it.
Yeah, we've done that for so long. I always am like, yeah, you have to be willing to disappoint other people in order to appoint your future self.
Mm. Yeah, I think this is making me think of one of those quotes, and I don't know who to attribute it to, but like, there are two people I want to make proud,
Mm.
my 5-year-old self and my 85-year-old self.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Not cute. That's mean.
Yeah, no, I don't take it as that.
Oh, but that's so great because I love all the future self stuff, but
Mhm.
like the 5-year-old self, that's why it's like so sweet, because it's like,
Mhm.
oh, she wants it so badly too.
Mhm. Yeah, she wants to tell the truth. And my 5-year-old self wasn't afraid to tell the
Did
truth.
Yeah, it's like what you said at the beginning. All we're doing is just unlearning. Like we actually came perfect. Like we actually knew how to do it when we
Yeah.
were 5.
Yeah,
It's
we were
just
conditioned out of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Somebody was describing it like tentacles, and I'm like having her like physically like remove all of these socialization, cultural conditioning like tentacles off of her so she can like
Mhm.
be free. It was like the
Yeah.
best analogy, and I think I always talk about it. I'm like, most of us are like walking around with like 15 pounds of people pleasing pounds because like
Mm.
most of us do go to the dinner and eat
Mhm.
the thing when we're full because we don't feel like it's safe to tell the truth. And it feels
Mhm.
safer to like lie to ourselves than it does to tell the truth to other people and
Mhm.
to let them have their like reactions and
Mhm.
responses. I also feel like most people, yeah, there's definitely food pushers and there's
Mhm.
definitely people that are going to be disappointed, but I feel like actually most people are like, "Well, whatever. I don't like give a F."
They don't care. Yeah. That's the best part of it all because when you start telling your truth and you start feeling the freedom that comes with that, they're not like, why are you not doing this?
Yeah.
They're like, tell me how you're not doing this.
Hmm. Yeah, they're curious, they're inspired. Yeah, like you're
Yeah.
giving them permission too. It's like
Mhm.
you're such a gift to,
Mhm.
they're like, oh, wow, she honored herself and didn't die. Maybe it's safe for me to honor myself and not die. That's
Mhm.
cool. I remember
Mhm.
at the beginning of my journey, I would like program my brain with all like my rebuttals for like why I wasn't going to eat what I was going to eat. And then no one would challenge me. And then I'd be like pissed that I couldn't use my rebuttals.
You're like in the car on the way
I'm like,
home.
okay. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I was gonna like, I'm like fighting with them in the shower and I never got to use it because no one, well, 99% of people don't care. And you might have like a hard mother-in-law or whatever, and it
Mhm.
feels like it's not 99%. But most people really don't care. And I do this experiment all the time just to like put it on my Instagram. But it's
Mhm.
like the pizza topping test. And because well, I don't eat flour. So like, and then oftentimes at like these freaking silly kids' birthday parties, like what is there? Pizza, right? Or
Pizza
like
and
the
cake.
pizza and cake. It's so easy. And or there'll be like family pizza nights or whatever. And I'm like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna eat the tops off the pizza. I'm gonna eat like the tops off of like 3 pieces of pizza and look like a total weirdo. There might not even be forks, and I might just use my fingers. It's gonna be
Mhm.
disgusting. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna see how many people I can get to say something. Like, I'm gonna see if I can get people to be like, "What are you doing?" And no one will say anything. It's
Yeah.
so annoying. I'm like, "Come on." So, yeah, people
Somebody challenge me.
someone challenge me. Someone challenge me. Yeah, telling the truth. It's so yeah, it's so, so good. And that's why coaching is so awesome too, because
Mhm.
it gives you a safe container to tell the truth and to practice. Like, you don't have
Mhm.
to like dive in. You can sidestep your way into being your favorite you, to loving
Mhm.
yourself and to experiencing like bliss within your
Yeah.
own body.
Well, and I think the other thing that coaching brings is the idea of like, let's fail forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay to fuck this up
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
keep
you're
coming
winning or
back.
learning. You're winning or
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make the failure mean so much about like our like who we are.
Mhm.
Oh, God.
And then you think about it too, like if it was your 5-year-old, you'd never be like, "What were you thinking? Why did you do that?" You'd be like, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
okay, honey. We're gonna
Yeah.
figure it out."
Yeah. Well,
Like,
like, I mean, I have like daily examples because I have a 5-year-old and he's like learning to ride a bike and he
mhm,
can't figure out how to turn on the gravel right now. And he
mhm.
falls on the gravel and
Ouch.
he gets frustrated and he gets
Mhm,
hurt, but he gets right back up and he's like, "Why? What happened there?" And I'm like, "You're on the gravel and you're not on the pavement. So like let's try not making as sharp." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Instead
mhm.
of quitting
Yeah,
riding the bike, he just like
right.
gets a little frustrated, feels his feelings, cries, and then gets back on. And it's like
Mhm,
he's not making it mean anything about his worth. And I
mhm,
think we do that so much like when we're after any goal, like whether
mhm,
that's weight loss or whatever. It's like,
mhm.
oh my God, I eat a cupcake. I'm like, you guys, it's not fucking heroin. Like it's a cupcake, like big deal. They're like, oh my God. I'm like, I literally actually must be a failure. Like, I must be a failure. And I'm like, oh, we're just like winning or learning. And I think, yeah, our 5-year-old selves, we just attach so much meaning to mistakes or failures or detours or plot twists or whatever we want to call them. And it's so unnecessary.
Well, yeah. And I think as the parent too, like you could
Mm,
have chosen to
mm,
berate him and say, can't you see that you're not on the pavement? You're on the gravel. Like you
yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Idiot.
Instead, yeah, you were like, oh, look, the only difference is,
Yeah.
and this is
Let's
how
do
you
that.
make
Let's
the
try this next
correction.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a course correct, a little detour and a little course correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's so good. Okay. So we were talking earlier about the email that you sent out about like how to love the experience of being in your body, and your body is
Mhm.
is like your one precious home. So talk to
Mhm.
us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I sent an email today. Basically, it was a repeat of one that I brilliantly wrote, I don't know, a couple of years ago. I don't know if you experienced this too, Laura, but like I'll read my own emails and I'll be like, oh, wow, like I needed that message.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm so smart.
I know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty good at this, right?
I'm like, am I still this smart?
Right.
Yeah, it's so good. I love that. You guys, that's a great exercise for all y'all to go do, is to like go look at some of your past stuff. It's good. I mean, some of it's
Yeah.
probably not, but like, no, but
Right.
most of it is really awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, it was, your body is your body for life. And the thing that I put onto that too is that your mind is your mind for life. So your relationship with yourself is the only one that's going to last your entire lifetime. And I think that is an Edith Eger
Mm,
quote. So you're quoting Victor, I'm quoting Edith, both Holocaust survivors. And let's give our brains and our bodies what they need in order to thrive, in
mm,
order that we want to actually live in our bodies and we want to actually live in our minds. Because I don't know about you and your listeners and my listeners, but like so many of us have brains that like we wouldn't subject anyone else to. Like we're so
mm,
mean to ourselves
mm-hmm.
in our own minds and we're so unkind to our bodies. We do things that are not loving to them. And so my whole thing is like, let's love ourselves up so much and put at least a portion of the focus of loving and helping and caring for other people, like at
Mm-hmm.
least give a portion of that to us. And my
Mm-hmm.
bias is like, let's give it all to us. And then everything that overflows from that,
Yeah.
like, is going to flow out onto the people that are
Yeah.
closest to you and that you care the most about.
Yeah.
But so many of us are so externally focused on what we're doing for other people, how we're showing up for other people, that we're not taking the time, not taking the 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
not taking the half hour to go on the walk in nature, not taking
Yeah.
the half hour to go lift heavy stuff and throw it
I would
around.
almost like give it to the audiences as like a challenge. Like take a week or take a month, or like I dare you to take a whole year where you're like, okay, just for a year, or just for a month, or I'm just gonna put myself first, or I'm gonna at least put myself on the top 3. Because most
Mhm.
of my like a lot, I don't want to say most, but
On
a
the
lot.
list.
Yes,
Like they're not
exactly.
even on
A
the
lot.
list.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're not even on the list. I mean, that's a whole
Mhm.
program I want to create. Like, get on the list. Like, just experiment. You can always go back to not being on the list. But
I say that to my people all the time. I'm
like,
like, you'll never choose it. If
yeah.
you put yourself on the list, you will see that
Yeah,
like you
and
should have
you'll
always been on it.
yeah. It's just so much easier, like, oh my God. So, like, we had these 50 Yummy Mummies in Boulder, Colorado. We went to a comedy club. Like, we had, like, a private comedy show.
Oh, how fun.
And the headliner was like, "The Yummy Mummies, what are you guys, zombies walking around?" And I'm like, I mean, she couldn't figure out what we were or what we did. She thought we like made breast pumps. It was like this whole thing. And then I told her it was like a cult. And then I wouldn't tell her what it was. And so the whole thing, she couldn't even concentrate on her like
Set.
spiel on her set because she's like, what are you guys like? Anyways, it was hilarious. And I was like, no, but like we kind of were zombies like
Yes.
before because we were shells of ourselves walking
Mhm.
around giving from nothing, which is
Mhm.
borderline impossible. And so
Mhm.
that's why I mean, that's why we're both, now I'm making Melissa be honest with me, both audiences challenging you to do that because what you'll prove to yourself is that it's just like so much easier to get. Like when I show up to this retreat and am leading workshops and coaching for 50 women, I do basic bitch shit to like fill my cup. I do. I know people make
Mhm.
fun of it, but like I do get the massages and the pedicures, but I'm also like walking in the sunshine a lot and like I
Yeah,
do all the things and the journaling and like I get like an exceptional amount of sleep. I
me
do,
too.
yeah. I'm like, if it's not 9 hours, well, it's like it's not enough. And there's a coaching that we can do around that because I can already hear the audiences be like, I could never sleep like that. Well, anyways, we can coach you through all that. Don't worry. But my point here is it becomes natural. It becomes effortless. It's not a grind. Like my son last night after well, yeah, so last week I did all the things to make sure my
Mhm.
cup was full, but it's natural now. I don't even have to try because it's just so
Right.
automatic
Ingrained,
and
yeah.
ingrained. And so like I can show up at that retreat and just give it all from like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. because I still have to
Mhm.
get those 9 hours. But and then I come home and
Mhm.
my son's like, will you play hangman? And I
Yeah.
know, like, I know myself. Like, if I hadn't done this work, I would have been like, you're supposed to play hangman with him. Now, I like
Mhm.
hangman actually. Like, if it
Mhm.
was like play with cars on the floor, I would be like, fuck no, kid. Like, absolutely not.
You're on your own, kid.
Yeah, yeah. But he's like, "Wanna play hangman?" I'm like, "Yeah, I totally wanna play hangman." Like, but that's kind of like one of my like little dreams is like the moms, like they say yes, but like from desire, not obligation. And the way you
Yes.
get there is by filling your cup, by putting your oxygen mask on, blah, blah, cliche, blah, blah.
Mm.
So that's just like little minute examples to like dangle the carrot that like the first act of like selflessness is selfishness and it's not actually selfishness. It's kind of what you said at the beginning, like self-sacrifice. I thought that was such a
Mhm.
good term that you used.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like stop self-sacrifice, like stop sacrificing yourself in the name of
Mhm.
other people. It's not in the name of them.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I often tell my clients is, do you see how you are burning yourself in order to keep other people warm? Like you're
Mm,
setting yourself on fire in order to keep these other people warm. Like, and none of them want you to do it. You think that they do. They actually, the people that really love you and care about you, like that's the last thing they want.
oh my God, that could make me cry. And that's so true. And yeah, what a good filter to put people through. If they don't want
Hmm.
you to take care of yourself, they're out. And there might be some of those people, right? Because a lot of people do benefit from people pleasing people,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And those people that are out, that's information that you want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good.
Tell me about your favorite version of you, Laura.
Um, okay. You guys, she told me she was going to ask me this before we hit record. And she told me to be prepared, but then we hit record. So my answer is like, I honestly feel like there's one version of me though.
Mm.
I feel like there's just one version of me, but do you disagree? Do I have other versions I don't know about?
I mean, there was a version of you before you found all this coaching.
Oh, definitely my favorite version of me is me right
Hmm.
now. Well, maybe
Hmm.
future me. Oh God, I don't know.
Like it sounds to me like your favorite version of you gets a lot of sleep.
Oh,
Your favorite version of you
oh,
doesn't self sacrifice in order to people please other people.
oh. Okay, so like, what is my favorite version of me? What does she do?
Yeah. Put us into your house on a random Thursday.
Oh, okay. So I have like 20 answers. So something I'm really working on right now that makes me feel favoritism towards myself is
Hmm.
everything is fun. Everything has to be fun. Like it
Mm.
has to be fun and easy. I mean,
Mm.
it's okay. It's okay if it's a little hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But like, so my big impossible goal that I want to do is to free 1 million moms. That's it. But
Hmm.
from a place of fun. And that's
Hmm.
the impossible part, actually. Like,
Hmm.
I know I can free 1 million moms. Like, I know I can do that part,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
it's can I do it by remaining close to my really primary number one value, which is fun, which I
Mhm.
know sounds frivolous, but it's not.
Mhm.
It's deep because if you don't have the ability to be silly or to have fun or to enjoy life, because if you're not like exuberant and wild and psycho like me, that's not going to
Mhm.
relate. But like you could use the word enjoyment or joy
Mhm.
instead of fun.
Yeah, or
And
pleasure,
our pleasure, yes.
play, like
Play. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's like that is my favorite of me. My favorite version of me is like
mm,
the girl, woman, whatever, that is
mhm,
like having a lot of fun, that is playing a lot, that's
mhm,
outside a lot, games,
mhm,
dance,
mhm,
walking, like, and so like I do like make my calendar match that like primary value. I remember my
mhm,
husband, who's been my boyfriend slash husband since I was 18, and like
wow.
he was like, we were like 22, and he's like, what do you think like the purpose of life is? And I was like, "To have fun." And he was like, "Ugh, that is, like, not." He, like, shamed me for it because I don't know, because he wasn't as involved
I
as
mean,
I was
he's
actually.
a man who's raised in the patriarchy. The point is not fun and play. No
No, no, the
way.
point is, like, yeah, he was on the same probably a similar track to you. He was like, we're now we get the PhD."
Yeah,
And then,
achievement is the
yes,
point.
achievement,
Yeah.
exactly. And he was like, "Ugh." And I'm like 20 something years later, I'm like, that's still the point of life. Like
Yeah.
my future self who's on her deathbed is like, you fucking did it. Like you had
Yeah.
fun and you played and you contributed and like, all the
Mhm.
like important achievement things too.
Mhm.
But I think that that's my favorite version of me is like the girl who goes to dance class and is just unapologetically her. Like my husband
Mhm.
did for my 40th birthday, like one of those. Oh, you did one for Maggie, like a montage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it was like a montage of all of my friends.
Mhm.
And it was like he made them rehearse and it's like
Mhm.
he gave them lines. Literally everybody. There was like 50 people on there and they were
Yeah.
like, oh, because he did give them questions, but not like
Mhm.
leading questions. It was like, how would you
Mhm.
describe Laura was one of the
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
Like, but like nicely, like don't say mean shit to her on her birthday. Everybody
Remember, we're
said,
celebrating her.
yeah, we're celebrating her. Everybody said like, oh, Laura is unapologetically herself. Like that's just who she
Mm.
is. And so I think
Mhm.
that is a part of my favorite me is
Mhm.
it's what you've been talking about. Like it's me telling the truth unapologetically. It's me being willing to just be myself and like tell the
Mhm.
truth and give other people their feelings back to them. So that I
Mhm.
think and that's goes back actually to like the ability to have fun and be silly and play is
Mhm.
because I think we all have that inside of
Yeah.
ourselves. It's
Oh,
just
for
that like we're
sure.
not allowed to show that sometimes.
I do a lot of inner child work with my people,
Mm.
and their littlest version of themselves, that's all they want. They want to play or they want to have a hug. Like it comes
Oh
down
my
to
God.
those simple things. So
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
on the right track, Conley.
that gave me the chills. I got the right answer. Did I get an A plus? I still have to break up with I'm still breaking up. No, I broke up. I fucking broke up. Uh my relationship with achievement equals worth. But okay,
Mm.
so
Yeah, you got your PhD in fun just now. You did it.
okay,
Good job.
great. I did. Okay, so thanks. It's coming from an MD. It must be legit. Okay, so Melissa, will you tell us before we end what
Yeah.
your favorite I want to know your favorite version of you.
Oh God, girl. Um, free, peaceful, laughing, making other people laugh for sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you light up when you do that.
Hmm. And willing to receive other people's love and care.
Mm. Oh, I have like 8 more questions. But that's the podcast, guys. So maybe she'll come back. Or maybe I'll go back. Whatever. Wait, okay, let me just ask like one question.
Yeah.
Because this is like a fun workshop. This is like, okay. And then like, how do you know when you're falling away from her? You're like abandoning her. How do you know when you're not being her? Or what things do you have to put on your calendar to make sure she's supported and she can come out and she can thrive?
Yeah. I mean, the calendar stuff, it's sleep
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
for sure. It is daily time in nature.
Mm-hmm.
It is moving my body in a loving way.
Mm.
It is connecting with my people, whether that be friends or my clients or whatever. The way that I know that I am falling away from her is I'm learning to really listen to my body and constantly asking myself, like, what do I want? And I'm stealing this shamelessly, and I have stolen it shamelessly from Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach and Amanda Doyle on the We Can Do Hard Things podcast, where they talk about if something is a yes for them and it feels like a yes, it feels warm, it feels open, it feels expansive, it feels light. If something is a no, it's cold and closed off and heavy. So it's just being willing to like follow my body and follow my feelings in my body and stuff. Which
your body can't lie.
When I was in med school, residency, physicianhood, like I was like neck up. Like I wasn't in my body ever.
Yeah.
So this is a learning process.
Yeah. So like going back to telling the truth, like it's impossible to tell the truth unless you're connected to your body and the cues that it gives, because it only speaks in one language, which is truth. Yeah.
So
That's
good.
so good.
So good. So good.
Okay, should we end it? That's a bit like, okay, we're ending it. Okay, Melissa, tell the people how they can find you.
So I'm on Facebook, Melissa Parsons Coaching, Instagram, which is Coach Melissa Parsons MD, my website, melissaparsonscoaching.com. I'm everywhere. I'm all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
How can people find you, Laura, for my listeners?
I'm on Instagram at Laura Conley Coaching. And you guys are obviously podcast listeners, so you can listen to Lose Weight for the Last Time with Laura Conley. And really, you guys get this, but the work that you do inside the podcast or inside my program is so similar to like what Melissa is teaching. It's kind of like if you do this self-love work and you become your favorite self, like the weight loss just is a byproduct, really. My clients are like, you just tricked me into all this self-love shit. I was like, weight loss. I was like, be skinny and hot. And they were like, okay. And now they're like, God, I'm so nice now. I just love myself. My husband is obsessed with me. It's so weird. I was like, I know it's a trick.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. So yeah, so my podcast, Instagram, and my website is Laura Conley, LauraConley.com. And that's it. That's the spiel.
I love it. Thank you so much for interviewing me and chatting and all the fun things.
Oh my God, it was so fun. Well, I knew it would be fun. And I'm like, who would be fun to talk to for a podcast?
I'm so glad that this is your life's goal and I fit into it.
Yeah, A+, Melissa, for you too.
Thank you.
Oh my God, thank you so much. It was so fun.
Yes.
Okay, bye everybody. Have the best week ever.